Today we are doing a Change Wave live at South by Southwest with Dean Stoecker from Alteryx. Awesome to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming
My
along.
first time at South by Southwest.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's exhausting.
It is.
But that's okay. So, I love how you were literally the only person I've ever interviewed that asked for just hot water. That was stylish and
It's actually pretty tasty.
Yeah. And in case you're listening to this instead of viewing it, Dean has a really cool rose kind of addition to his jacket. I love it. So in case people don't know what y'all do, can you let everybody know?
Sure. Alteryx is a leader in the self-service data science and analytics space. We go to market with an end-to-end platform that brings the thrill back to problem solving around the world.
Wow.
It's a code-free environment for citizen data scientists who live in complex VLOOKUPs. We get them out of Excel hell. For the trained statisticians, we make sure that they're still able to write Python and R scripts and operationalize their models.
Wow. You did share something kind of fun and interesting before we started rolling about the path of the company and how actually you didn't go the traditional Silicon Valley, raise and burn path. And I think that was fascinating and inspirational. And we can get into that later if you want. But.
Well, the short answer to that is that losing my own money was difficult enough to think about. Losing someone else's was untenable.
Right, exactly. What's your role there?
I'm CEO and co-founder.
Awesome, great. Well, let's dig right in. I'm a huge Back to the Future fan. I can't help it. And so I'd like you to imagine that you wake up, you're drinking your hot water in the morning, and the DeLorean shows up in your driveway, and it's kind of steaming and hot because it just came back from 1832. And Doc Brown knocks on your door and he says, Dean, you can go back to 2 years in your life. What years would you go back to? What was going on? So give us the context and the story. And what would the Dean of today tell the Dean of the past?
Oh, gosh. I think the Dean of today would tell the Dean of the past, don't wait till you're 40 to start a business.
Really?
I had a number of, I'm kind of an entrepreneur at heart, and I've had a number of things that I've started that were not in the software business. And I've always just tinkered and enjoyed building things. My father was a home builder, and I just loved using my hands to create stuff.
Right, so physical things.
Physical things.
Wow.
And so software was a little bit removed from that, but I would, if I had my DeLorean, I would go back to probably, 1985 and say, get your butt out there and get going. I waited till I was 40.
Right.
I'm so engaged in the business though now, so there's no regrets.
Right.
But
Just do it sooner.
I would have done it sooner.
Wow. It's fascinating though, because probably the life experiences you had being 40 probably helped. I mean, I'm 41 and I'm only becoming a good manager now. So I think maybe you save yourself pain, but that's fascinating. What would be another year you'd go back to?
I would probably go back to when I graduated college. I might have, I think you think about education and academics, and you take all these classes, and then 15 years later you realize you don't use any of them.
Right. You don't remember what they were.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I just think that education should be done differently today. I think I would have done my education perhaps differently. In my senior year, I actually changed my major so I could go around the world. Last possible second.
Can you do that?
I did. Maybe I got under the radar, but I did.
What did you switch to and from?
I switched from finance to international business.
That's
and it's a good thing because we're doing business in 70 countries.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
That one worked.
That was smart. Okay. Wow, that's fascinating. So what would you then do? How would you do college differently then?
Well, I probably would have still gone through school, but I might have done more majors. I might have tried a few different things because you kind of get boxed in when you're young. You don't really know what the experiences are. And when I changed to international business, it gave me an opportunity to sort of rethink what might be of interest. And I fell into just some crazy career paths getting to this point, all of which informed on what we would want to do, how we would want to build it, what even the UIs would look like to get here.
Right.
And gosh, you look at the growth of the company just in the last 2 years after going public, it's remarkable.
Right. Can you, I'd like to dig in a little bit then. What was the journey career-wise from college then to being 40? What did you do until before you started the company?
Well, I always worked in data companies. And I found information pretty valuable. I recognized data as an asset early on. And I couldn't figure out how data companies weren't very good at monetizing data. And I think what you need, the ultimate value in content, is when it becomes ubiquitous.
Right.
And the only way to make it ubiquitous is if you have surrounded that data with an easy-to-use interface so that more people touch it.
Right.
And apply analytics to it so that it becomes, you make the data dance, it becomes more valuable.
Right.
And none of the companies I ever worked with figured that out.
Right.
And so we said, screw it, let's just build a data agnostic platform, big, little, structured, unstructured data, doesn't matter where it's coming from APIs in the cloud or stuff behind the firewall. And let's make it analytic agnostic to where if you want to do simple KPIs or build algorithmic processes or deploy machine learning, you can.
Right. Wow. Gosh, it makes perfect sense. And it seems, prescient, that we're in a world where even smaller companies like ours understand the value of that.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Data is the new oil.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that. I like it. Why should companies and people care about building diverse teams?
Oh, well, I think it's pretty well researched that diversity and inclusion leads to success. In fact, I've just kicked off last week on Friday a diversity program at Alteryx. It's called Alter Us.
Oh, cool.
And I think when you surround yourself with something other than old white men, you get better answers,
Amen.
you get better ideation, you get better perspective, and I think it actually gets people more engaged.
Right.
And I think you have better attrition rates, you have better engagement rates, and it's pretty clear that diversity matters.
Right. Amen. Right.
And not percentage diversity.
Right.
I mean, I think that's
Actual
kind of
diversity.
backwards.
Right.
It's actual diversity in experiences.
Right.
And that leads to diversity in all the percentages.
Right. Amen. Absolutely. What's your favorite book, course, or person that's really affected you?
I think I destroyed school, so it's not a course.
Whoops.
That's a great question. I don't read a lot of books, but I read papers. And so my favorite paper was actually is a seminal paper written by J.C.R. Licklider in 1964.
Right.
And anyone in technology should read this.
Okay.
It's something like 30 pages.
All right.
But it's called Man-Computer Symbiosis.
Oh, wow. Tell me more.
And, well, J.C.R. Licklider, he probably influenced more technology than anyone on the planet.
Right. Okay.
People like Steve Jobs would attribute much of their thinking to J.C.R. Licklider.
Wow,
He
really?
talked a lot about taking friction out of the relationship between the human and the computer.
Wow. All right.
And that's kind of what we've done, is we've actually improved that experience between complex data and analytics and the human mind.
Right.
And anyway, it's a fantastic
That
read.
sounds amazing. And the author and title again?
J.C.R. Licklider.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the title of the paper again?
Man-Computer Symbiosis.
Gosh, that sounds great. All right. Thank you. No one's ever said that. So,
Most people don't know who he is. He's not credited with a lot, but most of the Valley executives will talk about him. And then person, I have a bunch of favorite people, but the one I think my employees get sick of me talking about him, but Buckminster Fuller.
Right.
So
Yep.
Bucky Fuller, back when I was in college, I went to the nation's bicentennial, and it was the Conference on World Affairs at the University of Colorado. And I went to a session he had called, I think it was called Everything I Know by Bucky Fuller.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a 7-hour.
You saw him live?
I saw him live. It was like a 7-hour session, and I only went till like 3 hours because I had classes.
Right.
Right, which I shouldn't have gone to.
No. Oh, my God. Oh, well.
But I remember Buckminster Fuller saying something that I still believe wholeheartedly today. And he said, we're building all the right technologies for all of the wrong reasons.
Interesting.
And we are never going to be able to take care of Spaceship Earth very well, nor for very long, if we don't see it as a common cause. It has to be all of us or none of us.
Wow.
And and that just kind of informed me about what you have to do, what we have to do as people, as human beings to help each other.
Right.
And so we have an Alteryx for Good program because giving back is pretty important.
Right. It's powerful you say that because I was just talking to Tim O'Reilly yesterday, and he wrote a big article in reaction to blitz scaling and said, the very scaling that Silicon Valley has created also creates an obligation to do good. Mm-hmm. And that's not happening in general. And so it's really refreshing to sit down with someone leading a large tech company and say, actually, it's my job now to do that.
It is my job. Yeah, corporate culture is my job. It's our job, but it has to come from the top.
Right.
And what's exciting is we're bringing dignity back to the homeless in San Francisco. We're eradicating malaria in Zambia. At our global kickoff in January, we had 900 associates that we all got together. We packed in 1 hour. Doing good is not that hard.
Right.
We packed 103,000 food baskets in 1 hour.
Wow. Right.
Remarkable.
That is. Well, thank you for doing that. And actually, you're right. You just have to do it. And it's refreshing to hear you say that. It's also interesting and not causal maybe, but correlated that you started the company in a sustainable way and grew it in a different way. And yet you still got big and now you're doing good. So that's very refreshing. I forgot that you had gone to CU. I saw that on your LinkedIn profile. Are you from Colorado?
I am, born and raised.
Where?
Westminster, Broomfield, and Boulder.
Really?
Yeah, right. That whole on 36 there.
Really? I'm from Colorado Springs.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, I went to Colorado State University. So, okay.
An ag.
Well,
how'd you get into your career then?
This is exactly the weird point. I mean, as soon as I got my computer science degree from Colorado State, I realized that you had this whole tranche of American universities that are creating subpar degrees. What's the value, right? So that's a whole nother thing. And I have to be drunk to talk about that. So we're not going to go there.
I'd have to be drunk to listen to it, I think.
Thanks. Okay. The next question I have is just about if you can think of a story. Clearly you believe in diversity, inclusion, and balance. So tell us about a time when you saw a balanced team do something that caused joy, create a better product, did better.
I think we see it almost every day in the way people engage with each other. It takes a discipline and consistency to actually get there. So it wasn't always that way. I mean, you run into situations where people aren't engaged and they don't like their job. They disrupt teams.
Right.
What we found out is that good is more bad is more powerful than good. And so you try to people who don't embrace the culture and don't improve the culture, you kind of move them out.
Gosh, yeah.
But I think when you're building things, whatever it is, whether you're building a business, a product, a career, a family, a marriage, a relationship, it's an emotional journey to get there. And you go through highs and lows, and you have to deal with the times the work sucks and You got to relish in the times the work is fun as heck, and in the long haul, it all works out.
Right. It's interesting that you said bad is more powerful than good. It's interesting. I'm seeing that the older I get, that you have to get rid of the bad fast, and then do more good. So that's refreshing.
Culture is often defined by the last bad act that went unpunished.
Right.
And
Right.
that's why leaders have to actually nip that stuff in the bud.
I just was thinking about my kids, actually, and how, there seems to be a pattern there too. You have to make sure the bad acts get disciplined, otherwise it goes very bad very fast.
Right.
So anyway, dad story. Tell us about a time where you went through something really hard, a big barrier. How did you get through it? What happened?
Well, I think to my last point, all of these emotional journeys to building something great, there's peaks and valleys and troughs of disillusionment.
Right.
And you just get to the point of saying, F this, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And those are the times where you have to kind of dig deep and rely on your foundation that your parents gave you, and your higher power, whatever it might be, and your family and friends, and there's nothing that can't be overcome. And I think that wallowing in your stuff is just not the way to do it.
No. Tell us about one of the stories, like where you really thought, this is hard, and it could be from your far past, recent past, whatever you want, but what was kind of going on, and then how did you mentally get through it?
Oh, I think raising money the first time, I wasn't super excited about raising money, but it was a necessity. All the hard work had been done. We were self-funded for 14 years. We got to about 20 million in revenue. The market for self-service data science and analytics began to open up.
Right.
So we changed the name of the company. We went on a Series A run. And it was hard because the expectation from people who wanted to give you money was very different.
Right.
And so I actually picked investors who understood us. We weren't a formula.
Right.
And to me, that was pretty important. And then convincing the rest of my team that outside money was needed.
Right. Was the right choice.
Because the hard work was done. Now is the expensive stuff.
Right. So you thought, gosh, we worked for 14 years to build a sustainable, profitable, growing company, and now we got to do more work to raise more money.
Well, this is where patience, I think, really is the message. A lot of companies go raise money. They build stuff that nobody will ever see. And to your point, they have to go burn and raise some more. And we just decided to do it differently. And so I have no regrets. Were there tough times? Of course. It's anytime you want to build anything, there's tough times.
Right. Wow. It really seems like you have a healthy culture, like a healthy outlook as a company. What have been some of the key, foundational columns in the way you manage the company or build the company that have allowed for that to happen?
Well, I would say the single biggest contributor to our culture is that I tell our associates that customer trust defines the integrity of our company.
Can you say that again?
Customer trust defines the integrity of our company. And when customers stop trusting you, you better pack up and go home, because they're the ones that are paying everybody's salaries.
Right.
They're keeping all the lights on. And so we put together a customer centricity program back in, interesting story, I'm a sales guy, so I go to a lot of client calls. I met 2 clients in one day, and this is back in the 2005 or 6 period. And they just hammered me, and I was aghast. And then I went to a Gartner event, and Don Peppers, the expert on one-to-one marketing, was on stage, and he said, for all you entrepreneurs out there, just know that customer trust defines the integrity of your company. And I heard that, and I had just come from these meetings where these customers had lost trust.
Right.
And so we put together a huge effort that everyone is involved in. Net promoter scores from associates and net promoter scores from customers are 2 of my 3 KPIs.
Wow.
As a public company.
Wow. Right. That says a lot.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the reasons why you're winning. So I love it. So just to kind of wrap, what is something that you're just really excited about Alteryx right now?
Well, right now, global growth is just fun because it finally gave me a conclusion as to why I changed my degree at the last possible second to international business.
Vindicated.
It's totally vindicated. I wish my mother were here to actually understand this now, because at the time she was a little shocked. The other part that I'm super excited about is our Alteryx diversity program. We're just now forming the committees. I've gotten a bunch of employee submissions, and they're heart-wrenching. The kind of emotion that they'll bring to this is going to be spectacular.
Wow, right.
And we have a hockey stick growth now, and I think when we elevate our stance and people get more engaged, who knows what could happen.
Wow. Well, again, thank you for being, I think, one of the few founders and leaders of a company that's actually doing good. A lot of people in your position are doing well, and then they don't manage to do good. So I appreciate that. Using your power for good, it's really refreshing. So really appreciate you having the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Where can people find you if they want to say hello online?
My Twitter handle is Alteryx Dean.
Nice.
They can email me, dstoecker@alteryx.com.
Awesome.
Stoecker.
And how about Alteryx? What's the best way for people to find out more?
Well, the best way to really understand about who we are and what we do is go to community.alteryx.com. You'll see thousands and thousands of customers who will tell you about the thrill of solving, the ability to change the world with our software and any data they can get their hands on.
Right. Wow. That's powerful.
It is exciting.
Gosh, thank you so much for being on the show. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.